Hello stamping friends. Today I want to show you this quick and easy daisy card. I am just really in love with the idea of this design. You could rework it in several different ways, but let's just jump right in and make this one today. I'm starting with a folded piece of Terra-Cotta Tile cardstock. As you might be aware, the cardstock comes 8.5 by 11, so this is a half sheet of cardstock scored down the center at 4 1/4 and folded. So our card base measures 4 1/4 by 5.5 once it's folded. Then I have a few other pieces. I've got a 1-inch strip of the Ornate Garden Specialty Designer Series paper. This is 1 inch by 6 inches. Then I have a scrap of Whisper White cardstock. So it just needs to be large enough for you to stamp 2 of the large daisy. Then for our actual pieces that are going to go on the card front piece measures 3.5 by 5 1/4. And a white panel for the inside of the card measuring 3 3/4 by 5. So let's just start with the inside piece. I'm using BumbleBee ink pad. This is one of our new in colors. And I'm using the small daisy from the Daisy Lane stamp set. So with my BumbleBee ink, I'm just going to put a little flower right there in the corner. That is enough. This is just gonna go inside my card like so. Then continuing with the BumbleBee ink and this large daisy, I'm gonna take that scrap piece of cardstock and stamp 2 on here. Then I'll reach for my daisy punch and punch these 2 out. This is gonna give me 2 flowers that I can line up and stack to build a fuller daisy. So there's the first one. And let me just get this lined up. Sometimes, in fact, I'm gonna have to do this. You have to trim your little cardstock piece down just a bit so that you can rotate it and get it into the punch where it lines up. All right, so there's my 2 daisies punched. And I'll go ahead and take just a little bit of liquid glue and attach these 2 together. You could use any kind of adhesive that is either your favorite or whatever is handy. But I'm just gonna put a little dribble there and line the second one up on top of it, kind of lining up my petals so they go every other. The liquid glue gives you a little bit of wiggle room time. Okay, there's my flower. All right, going to the front piece of the card. Again, this is a piece of Whisper White that measures 3.5 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to use Garden Green and the stem. And then for my placement, I do want this to be just off center. Let me try to get this a little bit lined up so you can see better. There we go. I do want it to be a little bit off center, so I'm gonna come down low. I'm planning where I'm gonna put this just so I have room for my daisy when I come in and add those flower petals. And then I'm gonna slide it a little bit to the left to give me just a little bit more room. There's my stem with Terra-Cotta Tile and the smile stamp. Just gonna add this, and this could go up high, this could go down low, kind of whatever your mood is. I'm going to put it kind of right in the middle of my stem this time. Then I'm going to take my adhesive again and just put a little bit on the back. I am going to just put adhesive in the center, and I'll show you why. You could go a little bit wider if you want, but let me show you why I did just the center. Once this is in place on my card, I'm going to pull up the petals, just a couple of random ones, bend them a little bit, just to give my flower a little bit of life. So that's why I didn't want to put too much glue on the outer edges at the back. Now, of course, once this goes in an envelope, it's going to get flattened a little bit, but I still think even with the pop of the petals like that, it's going to recover once it's taken out of the envelope. All right, then we'll simply attach this to the front of that Terra-Cotta Tile card base. Now what you'll see I'm going to do is I'm going to line it over towards the right side of the card. I'm looking at the top border, the bottom border, and this right side to get those somewhat equal. That's going to leave a larger border over here. That's okay, that's where our designer paper is going to go. So let me get my adhesive on here. And add this to my card base. I see a little speck on the front of my card, but I'm pretty sure it's just from an eraser, something that I erased probably here on my workspace earlier. So let me see if I can get that. Yep, that's all it was. Good. Okay, and then as you see me do often, I'm going to flip the whole thing over and do my pressing on the back, just in case I had anything on my fingers, or even simply oil from your fingers can sometimes make that white cardstock look smudgy on the front. So I like to do my pressing on the back. Now I'm going to take that Designer Series paper strip. Whoa, sorry for the bump, wiggle, wiggle. And I'm going to attach it here. The reason I like a longer strip is instead of having to exactly line up all of my edges, as I would have to do if the strip was exactly the right size, I like to leave it a little bit longer. Then I can get it in place and then simply trim off the excess. So, and also let me mention on this piece, it looks very nice if you have it flush with that left folded edge of the card, or you can go ahead and slide your designer paper over just a bit to mimic the other borders. So whatever you choose. I'm going to go ahead and add my adhesive, and I'm going to have the glue go not quite to the edges, which are going to be the top and the bottom, since I know I'm going to be snipping those off. Okay, so that I can see better, I'm going to turn my card this way, and I'm going to line up my cardstock. I am going to go ahead and leave a little bit of a border of Terra-Cotta Tile showing. And once I'm happy, relatively straight, then I'm going to press that down, flip it and press it well. Then I'll reach for my paper snips and just trim off this extra length of designer paper. If you didn't want to do it that method, then you would just need a 1-inch strip by 5.5 if you wanted to start with the exact correct piece of designer paper and not have the overhang to trim off at the end, like so. All right, let's put the center of the card in that we already stamped with one small daisy. And then we'll add an embellishment on our flower and wrap it up. And I kind of wish I had timed this so we would know exactly how many minutes, but it was, as I told you, very quick and simple. All right, I've got my white piece placed inside. Now, the embellishment that I'm going to reach for is actually one that has been retired, but you, like me, might have some of them still around. This little gold embellishment. I believe it was called Faceted Gems, and they were in gold and in clear. But because those aren't available any longer, if you don't have any in your stash, you could certainly use there's a new Gilded gem, and there's also some gold glitter enamel dots that are really nice. So I would substitute something like that. But I'm going to take my gem here and just put it in the middle. It gives a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of bling. And there you have it. I like to do all occasion cards because sometimes you want to send a card that just says, I was thinking about you. And so this one obviously is not happy birthday or thank you. The smile leaves it very generic for whatever occasion you might want to use it for. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for stopping by.